Alrighty, hey everybody, we are back, and as you can see, what we're ended up doing is we're doing a hobby update on the printing of the acrylic pen holder, and we're also taking a look at maybe a possible vent thing that I'm making. So with that being said, I'm Steve, the retired hobby tech guy, and like I said, what we're ended up doing is we're taking a look at kind of doing a few things. Yeah, we're kind of doing a few things there. Let's make this so we can get a little bit of this going on, and so that way I can reference it, I can know what I'm talking about. So yeah, what I ended up doing, kind of a little recap for those of you who don't know, I picked up the Just Art 60 dual tip acrylic markers, and 60 colors, works on paper, metal, rocks, wood, glass, canvas, I guess some other things, and it's supposed to be stored in this configuration, so you can't like put them like you would like a regular pen in a pen cup or something, because since it's dual tip, it has a cap on this end and a cap on this end. If you stored it up like that, and what happens is the paint goes down there and this one dries out and you're SOL. Okay. So with that, I came up with a way that I could store these in kind of like a vertical fashion. And so we're going to take a look at that. And we had a few iterations with this. This is kind of the first one here, and it still shows some of the filleting and some of the stuff we ended up doing in the holes. And we got down to it. It came out to a whopping 885 grams. And then it was late night, and so I thought, well, to get rid of some stuff, I could get rid of like a big portion of this. So this is transparent. But if we do that and we go to transparent mode, you can see I took out two big sections. I thought surely that would remove a bunch of filament, a bunch of material, so I wouldn't need as much filament. The problem is I would need supports. So that actually ended up being 620 grams. So we went in the wrong direction. So then I decided to do this one here, and you can see we got kind of a space in there. And I remember watching a video from a guy who was talking about, well, you can make certain features on your print so that they don't need supports. And one of those was kind of this here, was this little teardrop. Now the problem with the teardrop here is you can see that it's we got the little triangle top, and then there's an abrupt line right there. Well, as I printed that out, the problem was it looked funky, and I just didn't like it. And so I redid everything, and even with this one came out to 413 grams. And then we kind of went on to this one where we ended up fixing everything. Hey, we got Terry here. Awesome. Hey, Terry, how's it going? Terry says hi. So the TVL 60P is the Varied Life 60 pen holder, and we cleaned up the hole size. So it looks, that's as best as I could get on Tinkercad, so that we could print this without any supports. Yeah, and then as it goes up, we'll notice that, well, wait a second, we've got the little tip pointing up, and then we got the tip pointing down, and all the rest of them are pointing down. So why would you do that? Why would you do that, Steve? Did you mess up? Well, I've messed up a lot, but the whole idea of this is that this is 396 millimeters tall, which is way too tall for the Creality K2 Plus. That build area is 350 cubed. So in the middle of that, I would split it with a planer cut, and then take that other piece, and then I would put that top piece there on the base, on the build plate, and it would build up. We'll take a look at that. But when I did all that, we were able, and then we also did this. It was during the last stream that we're doing a painting miniature thing, and I got kind of sidetracked, had a squirrel moment, and I decided, well, hey, we've got too much material here. We can get rid of a bunch of material. So we cut into this, removed a bunch of material, and then we brought that same thing to the top, and we got rid of a bunch of material. So now, on the final one, we're able to get it down to 407 grams. The 0.2 layer height, 5% in adaptive cubic for the infill. So yeah, your mileage may vary, but we brought it down from 585 to 413 to now 407. And yeah, I think that's going to work out really good. Matter of fact, here we go. We actually have it printing. So if we take a look at this, there it is in all its printing glory. So we'll take this over a little bit. So yeah, and if we kind of, well, I guess we can't zoom in there, can we? But if we zoom in there, what you would end up seeing is how that is printing without any supports because of the way that we made the holes. And that worked out beautifully. I wish I remember the guy's name so I could give him credit. He was a white dude. He makes stuff. He's got a print farm. He sells stuff. I know that doesn't really do a lot, but he made a video where he's talking about when you're designing your products, design them so that you don't need support, so you minimize the expense of filament, time, processing after the print, and so on and so forth. So this is one of the things that he recommended, and I just happened to remember it when I was doing the live stream. So, oh, we need to do this. Or the one prior to that, whatever it was. So it all culminated in making up a new one. So we did all the little tweaks, and here is the, if we can see that there, we can see how all of those came out really nice. And so this is a little test piece to see how those came out, and they came out great. I mean, those edges are nice. We see that the fillet edge there came out really, really nice. We'll just kind of move that up and down, and so you can kind of see that. Worked out great. So we're going ahead and we threw this on the Creality K2 Plus and we're printing it out. We've got a remaining time of 10 hours and 51 minutes. So we've got some time. And I'm hoping that I'll have enough filament and I won't have to do a filament change, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, it is, look at that. It's printing. It is printing and it's looking pretty good. So yeah, layer 292 on 1010 layers. So this will be able to hold all of those acrylic paint pens, which will be really nice. And I will offer this on Creality print. So that's going to be a cool thing. By the way, what I can end up doing, let me share with you the models that I have on Creality print. Because that way, I make stuff on Tinkercad. Okay, so, you know, and I'm a newbie pretty much. But what we can end up doing is taking a look here on the Varied Life, the Creality Cloud, the Varied Life. And I've got a number of products that I've made. Everything is for free for download. Some stuff is more downloaded than others, but paint racks and stuff like that. And again, just some free stuff, you know, paintbrush holders and airbrush holders and things like that. Yeah, it turned out pretty good. So I will put this model that I'm working on now on this page, and let's put this, we'll throw this out there. Free models from the Varied Life. And so you can get that into the comments down below. You can check that out. And so we got that. We got that going on. The other thing we're going to end up doing is working on some venting stuff. So we've got that. And we're going to take a look at kind of the room that we have there. That's a view. There's my K2 Plus that is currently printing. And there's the window of our apartment in that spare room, the printing room. And if you look, there's a little hole right there. Now I was able to get some material and then put that hole so I can put a vent in there and vent out the K2 Plus, or, you know, eventually I'll get everything set up and we'll vent everything. The K2 Plus, the resin printer, and yeah, we'll just get rid of all those nasty VOCs and we'll just vent all that stuff outside and make life so much easier for when we are printing stuff. And yeah, it'll be good for our health. So I think that's a wise thing to do. So with that, let's go ahead. Since I do have the wireless mic, I can go ahead and walk around and we'll take a look and I'll show you. So, hold on, might be a little seasick here, but there is our K2 Plus, which is printing, and again, it is coming out beautifully. If you can see that. Super nice, and we can kind of, I think we can do this. So that's what we end up having there. So that's printing, and then that is the hole with the bracket that is all sealed up there. But with that hole, that's 100 millimeters, so that will be our vent, and we need to have an adapter so that we can vent that stuff out. Good thing is that works out pretty good. And we have an AC infinity fan, which is really, really nice. And it's in 220, so that's an extra bonus. So what I'm thinking about doing, if we kind of back up here, because I know this camera is kind of weird on the iPhone, we'll take that stand that the K2 is on. It's basically a kitchen island. And we'll move that over here, and then we'll purchase another island and put that over there. So you can kind of see we got like a schematic on the floor of kind of the line. That's where one of them will be. And if we go over here, that's where the other one, then we'll have this open space. So I'm thinking about getting a board to go between them. And then we could have a little bit more workspace. And then we'll have the AC infinity fan, and we'll be able to vent out. And I'm not sure if I want to put the K2 Plus here and then put my resin printer. I've got that whole stand, and I'm thinking about moving that whole thing down this way. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I need to come up with something maybe a little bit better for that, because if I move that all down, that folding table is, I don't know, it's kind of janky. But the Saturn III Ultra that we have here, of course, that's what we got in there, and it's all ready to go. But when I process stuff, I don't know, maybe I could get rid of this table, or I could get a smaller table, and then I could move that down and maybe have this table sticking out this way. I'm not sure. That's a mess. Don't look at that. Hey, don't look at that. I told you don't look at that. So. But anyway, yeah, that ends up, we're kind of want to try to change. And if you have any ideas on how we could do this room, I'm all for it, because I'm not like a smart architect, everything look cool workshop type of guy. And then over here, we have our airbrush station, which is there. And this is eventually going to be the big airbrush station. So I'm going to line this with plastic, so when I do big prints, I can vent it out that way. And yeah, just kind of like do a plastic tent on the inside of this room. So you kind of, about right here, you step in, and yeah, it should be good. So, I just wish I was good at home decoration, or, you know, making stuff look cool. But I'm not one of those people. So if you have ideas on how I can make this, it would be much appreciated. So let's get back into the other room. And we'll go back here. And again, I apologize for this iPhone camera. I know it's like super close. So yeah, it's just odd. Just odd. And we'll go back to our regularly scheduled program right there. So, matter of fact, let's just disconnect that. We'll be good. I tried to take this because this is hooked up to Ecamm Live, but it's kind of like zoomed in, and I don't know why. And I've tried a lot of different settings and whatever, and it just never goes back to like a regular normal video camera, which is unfortunate. So anyway, within that printing room, we're going to call that the printing room. Within that printing room, and you remember the window, and it ends up that we had the hole in there for venting. What I ended up doing is I started going into Tinkercad, and I wanted to end up making a vent. So through a series of shapes and colors, that's what we ended up doing here. So basically we can see, yeah, we got some cool stuff here. So we kind of zoom in on this, and we can see how there's the shape there. And so this will go on the outside. This will go on the outside, and then we'll have that little spacer piece, and then this piece will go on here and at least give us a little bit of support. And then on this, that's where the 4-inch duct is going, or flexible ducting vent is going to go, is over this. And we'll just put a little wire clamp on there and we'll be good to go. So that'll work now for the K2 Plus, and I can always make another one, you know, or a different type or whatever, but I think that's good enough for now. And I think that is, I mean, it took me a while, because again, I'm simple. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I'm kind of like a spork, but that is what we're doing there. So I had been working on a vent, a different type of vent, because I thought, well, I'll do 2 different ones, and I still might do that. But I was just kind of playing around with that, and just kind of something like that. But on this one, I decided, hey, let's just do something. It's a little bit circular and round, and it just worked out, because the other one, I forgot how I was working it. And it was like, I'll just put a circle and a rectangle, and I'll hollow them out and put some whatever in there, and we should be good to go. So yeah, that's what we got going on there. Other than that, so we got the pen holder, which is printing out. It is still going. That's going to be 407, I think it is. When did that finally come out? Yeah, we got about 10 hours and 40 minutes, and it was 409 grams. And for those of you who are wondering, we could probably go back and take a look at this. And we could look at the settings on this. Now, when I offered this on Creality Print or Creality Cloud, I'll do the 3MF file. And so this is what it's going to look like when it's all together. But with this, so we have the 2 pieces there. Seriously. We got the 2 pieces there, and then we have some dowels, because on the tops of these, you're going to end up having some holes, so you have something to line up, and you know, besides just glue, it'll give a little bit of support there. And then on the second plate, I'll also include the entire thing here. So that way, if somebody wants to split it and put their own connectors on there, or they want to remix or whatever it is, they're free to do that as well. But as you can see, it's a little bit too tall for the K2 Plus. So that's the reason that I ended up splitting it. And if we look at the height of this, yeah, I know. It's 202 millimeters tall. So the good thing is you can print this out on a smaller build plate area. So if you have one that's 256 cube, you're good to go on that. Or if you have something like the K2 Plus or bigger, yeah, you could do it on that, or I don't know. I'm sure there's one that's bigger. It's just not coming to mind right now. As far as the settings, what we ended up doing, we did a layer height of 0.2, and then we kind of went down here for wall generator. We have classic, because that seems to be, from what I found and perused on the interwebs, that is good for parts like this. If you want something that's a little bit ornate, then you would go ahead and change that to Arachne. Then over here, we've got 3 wall loops, which seems to be pretty good. I think that'll be a good balance between strength and not using too much. And then, so we got that. Did a sparse infill density of 5% using adaptive cubic. We did a couple of, we started the print first, and then it ends up, we made the decisions to make it even lighter. So I had already started the print, but what we can end up seeing is that we have that, let's get the big picture. Let's get the big picture. So we can see that we got that there, but the walls are sufficient enough for that. And I think the adaptive cubic on there was going to turn out really good, and it'll give us enough support on that, and we should be good to go. And the fillets on these turned out really well. So if you look at that, you can see, yeah, some real good fillets on there. So you don't need any supports. I guess I just kind of lucked out, because other times that I've made and done fillets in Tinkercad, it was at too much of an angle, and I needed to have supports, and that kind of marred up the thing there. But as we can see here, yeah, look at that. It turned out beautifully, beautifully. There it is. So, yeah, came out really good. Really, really good. So that's what we got going on there. So test piece is done, but, well, the pens go in it. So we'll just leave that as where it's at. So that's what we're doing right now, is doing those prints. And again, if we go back to our desktop, we're printing that out. It looks really good. Hopefully I don't run out of filament and have to do a change. But I did order an Infinity S1, and that's that big spool changeover thing. And I know somebody are going to say, you know, I saw you got a CFS, just use your CFS. I've had some problems with the CFS, and I started buying the Polymaker 2.5 kilo spools. Those things are great. I love them. Polymaker matte PLA in black works out great. I'm having a good time with it. And with that S1 Infinity spool changer, automatic spool changer, I can have 2 3 kilo spools, and I can just run to my heart's content. So I don't have to worry about anything. With that being said, I still, since I'm just doing single filament, and most of it is PLA, yeah, I haven't used the CFS. I did have some problems with that first, or what is it, the one on the far right, that where you put that spool, and the one on the far right was having some problems. And then I just got the bigger spools, and I've been, you know, printing off the side spool holder ever since. So yeah, it is what it is. Let's see, some other stuff. We've been painting, and so there's a shot of a couple of the miniatures. Matter of fact, let's see, can we zoom in? Yeah. So there's some of the miniatures there. The two painted ones in front of like the red guy there, those are resin printed and painted, and then the smaller versions of them are the ones that we did on the Creality K2 Plus at a 0.08 layer height, which turned out, I was pretty surprised how well they came out. They're rough to paint because the details are all muddled, and yeah, it just is what it is. But we're going to paint them up, and the next video I think we're going to do is we'll do some more painting on that, and we'll see how well those turned out. But so far, they're looking pretty decent. So there's that. The other thing I'm taking a look at is possibly getting another camera, because I want a better camera. So when I do painting, and I think the camera I'm going to get is going to be the YOLO Live. Is that it? I think that's it. Let me see. Because of the autofocus and everything, so near and far it's automatic, and it looks pretty good. It looks real good. I've watched a number of reviews on YouTube, and oh, here it is. Yeah. So where's desktop? There we go. So yeah, this one here looks pretty good. I mean, it's got bigger sensors, good autofocus for face or close up, and it's got a bunch of low light performance is pretty good. It's got a lot of software driven supposed AI things that you can do. 4K zoom, streamers, podcasters, blah, 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 Mac or PC, which I have a Mac. And you know the saying, once you go Mac, you never go back. But it's like $200. It used to be $219. So yeah, yeah, that's it. But yeah, that looks like a really good camera. So I think I'm going to replace the Logitech Brio that I'm using for kind of the desk view, the paint desk view, which is this one. Come on, it's not letting me do it. This one here, that one is a Logitech Brio, and I think what I'm going to end up doing is changing that. So just zoom in like that, keep that to where it was, because the autofocus on this YOLO cam is so much better than the Logitech Brio. And then the Brio I'll take and I'll put that on my Windows laptop and I can use that. Also taking a look at, because I can have up to 3 cameras on the streaming software. So I might order, as you can see right there, a longer USB extender, 30 feet. So that way I can have the webcam and take it into the room, and I could have it included in all this stuff. So if I could have the K2 Plus live cam, I could run it through Ecamm Live, and yeah, that would be kind of cool instead of having to run a stream off of the Windows laptop. I'm not too trying to get used to the Windows laptop was a pain. It was like it was so long since I used a Windows. I was like totally lost. I'm like, why is this? And then of course you get the McAfee virus thing, and it's like, and then that expired, and it's like, oh, do you want it? So I keep getting pop-ups for that piece of shit. And then what is some other stuff that happens? I like Mac, but I don't know. The program that I needed to break up like large life-sized prints or larger prints on an FDM printer that wouldn't fit on your build area, kind of like Luban. I picked up that program, which was, I can't remember the name, Splitter, but spelled with the SPLIT3R. And that Splitter program, that came out and is significantly less. I bought the lifetime license for that, so I own the program, and I get updates for up to 2 years. So that's Windows only right now. So yeah, I've got the laptop, and I can at least do that stuff. You know, I think if one of these companies, one of these 3D printing companies like Elegoo or Creality or Prusa or Bamboo, whatever, if they were able to do a Luban splitter type program to split up prints of large items within, a splicing program, they would make some money. That would be awesome. A lot of people would do that. But the splitter program was pretty inexpensive compared to Luban because you have the lifetime license. Well, actually, Luban, I know I've kind of gone over this before, but let's take a look at this because it just kind of pisses me off. And it does a great job, and it does a bunch of other things too. You do lithophanes on that, but that's not really my thing. Maybe I do 1 or 2 or 3 of those, not a real big deal. So it does a bunch of this stuff here, and it's like, okay, but really all I would want it for, and this is just me, is breaking down big size prints, kind of like what we see there. When we look at the license, oh, you're going to love this. Unique license, blah, blah, blah. You can, try it out. free license, whatever. Check this out. So computer-based license for 1 month is $25. So you could pay $25, have a bunch of files that you want blown up into life size and then cut them down and do that all within a month and you're good to go. So you could minimize the amount of payment. Or you could do a year for $125 for the year. Okay. You would have to be doing a lot of life-size prints. This would be something that, or a ton of lithophanes or whatever. It's like but the permanent license, $625. I mean, I'm all for lifetime licenses and making a little bit of extra money that way because I hate subscriptions. But $625, good Lord. And then when we look at the difference between that and Splitter, S-P-L-I-T-E-R, and if we go back to here, now this is the Splitter program, and you can split parts, and the user interface is updated. I mean, check this out. Look at that, the user interface. So you got file, open projects, whatever, save, split, you know, all of that stuff is right on the top there. With Luban, you don't have that, unfortunately. So, and then you can pick your types of connectors and stuff like that. And it's, as far as the user interface, it has gone leaps and bounds above Luban. The only thing I don't like is that thing right there, is the view on the X, Y, and Z. I guess they're trying to make it, look, we have colored dots, but just use what you have in Creality Print. I mean, come on, seriously, let's take a look at this. So if we look up here, there is, yeah, you can move this around and do this and that, or if you just get to the front, or you want that, or a 3/4 view, that, if you want to look at the bottom, you can go back. If you're all screwed up, you can press the little angle reset and it goes back to that view there and you're good. With the Splitter program, that thing, you don't have that option. It's a pain in the butt. So hopefully they'll fix that in an update. But other than that, you know, you prepare the model and then import STL, OBJ, and 3MF, which is good. You can run repair and fix holes and manifolds and all the triangles and so on and so forth. You pre-split it so that way you can actually see the broken up pieces and you can add them. That's a little clunky. Honestly, that is a little clunky. And I think that the colors that they're using, I don't think there's enough contrast because when you put the model in there, it's so close to the color of that little yellow line there that it's hard to differentiate. And seeing, you know, I just wish there was more contrast between the colors instead of trying to make them, kind of match or whatever. It just doesn't make sense. And then what you end up doing is going through and it'll split and it'll go through and do all those parts and then it'll save it into a file and then you have access to all those STLs or whatever. The other thing they also have up is to have an exploded view and then they have like a hollowing feature. I mean, that looks really good. But we look at pricing for the basic is 60 pounds. But the Splitter full version with add-ons and all that stuff, and this is lifetime license. So you own the program. Now there is a caveat because you only get 2 years worth of updates. So whatever it is, it's you get 2 years worth of updates, and if you want more, you have to pay. So it's almost a lifetime license. But 95 euros ends up being like 110 bucks. So, and I think as they continue, it's just going to go up in price later on down the road. Kind of like what we saw with Luban and Ecamm Live and other programs that went from buying a full-time license to now it's only subscription fee. So yeah. Payment is confirmed, you get the download link, blah, blah, blah. Official release, it's only for Windows, so that's what I got. The official release is the end of December 2025, and yeah, So I've got like the beta version, but it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good indeed. And again, I think this is just going to go to the splitter and splitting up all the parts and everything. And I just wish this right here, it's all just kind of the same tone, the same color, you know, put some contrast in that bitch and let's rock it. You know, let me know exactly where I can see, because on this, if you zoom in here and you're trying to figure out, well, these are grids here, and what is actually going to be, you can't really tell because the model's kind of the same color. Everything's kind of got this pastel vibe to it, and it's hard to really see that. And then the other cool thing is it also has labeling conventions on there so that you can, you know, label things and know which part goes where. So simple workflow. You can do the assembly and all that stuff, and it kind of shows you, you know, the different parts and the labeling conventions and things like that. But yeah, it's not bad. And then you can put it into the slicer, and then you just go to town and boom, based on your printer. So that's the other important thing. It's simple, intuitive, no CAD skills required. This is really good. And let me see if it'll pop up here. Oh, there we go. That's much better. So you got the file, new file, open, save, I think rewrite over. You have your parameters, prepare, pre-split, split, explode and standard view and stuff like this. And then over here on the left, you can pick your, you know, the company and the machine that you're using with drop-down menus, which is awesome. And then you can actually set the X, Y, and Z on your build area. So if you want it to be use up all the space, or if you want to have a little bit of a barrier around there to give you some wiggle room, you can do that. So, excuse me. You can do different connectors and things like that. Really, really looks good. And you can set the clearance for your X, Y, so you have a little bit of wiggle room in there. But yeah, this here, and then putting in plane buttons. So the planes that are cut, that's a little clunky, so they need to work on that. And again, the contrast on there, as if I haven't said that enough. So yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. I think this will be a good one. So, excuse me. Distribution emails for the latest. Our mail delivery provider encountered a technical issue. This is the first time we sent a campaign to 202,563 recipients. Unfortunately, not everything went as smoothly. As a result, some have received the download email multiple times. Oh, whoop-de-doo. As long as I got the email to begin with, I'm good. Small number of customers may not have received the email at all. Contact them, you're good to go. But yeah, December 19th, they did the release, and it's made in France. So, but yeah, it looks pretty good. Licensing system, the whole 9 yards. I think this is going to be good. And I definitely, you know, for $110 for 2 years, and then what was the other thing? I wanted to support known bugs, facts. There we go. What happens after 2 years? Well, there would be a Mac one. Operating system is developed on that. Mac version is under development, but they have limited experience on Mac OS. They began porting on the 15th of November, but the libraries are different on Mac than Windows and Linux. So yeah, they're still working on it. So we'll see what happens. How does the licensing system work? Dun, dun, dun. Install multiple computers under one license. One active PC per license at any time. Only one computer may be active on that license. So that's pretty nice. I hate it when you have programs where they end up and it's like, oh, you can only use one computer. And if that computer goes tits up, and then it's a pain to have to deal with the company and, you know, try to get it and prove that, you know, you have the thing or whatever. I don't know. I've run into that in the past and had problems with, seriously, its computer died. I bought a new one and it was just kind of like a bear. So I don't think that'll be the case here. Auto close rule, switching machines. Says please quit on PCA before working on PCB. Blah, blah, blah. And I want to say it ended up that you get a lifetime license, but it's like 2 years. Okay, here it is. Here, oh, it's not 2 years. It says when you purchase, let me kind of get you back in on this because you're probably wondering, what the hell is he looking at? It says here, when you purchase a version of Splitter, you get 6 months worth of updates, bugs, fixes, minor improvements, blah, blah, blah. Critical bugs discovered in this window will still be fixed free of charge. Major future versions are paid upgrades, priced reasonably and assigned with current market rates, no subscription. So after 6 months, I think after 6 months it should be pretty stable enough. And depending if they put any other stuff on there, I don't know. It could be they could come up with some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, they go through on how to enter values and blah blah blah. I don't know. That doesn't really seem like it has tips and tricks. It's scale part. Let's see, what else do we got? Calibrate tenons, which is the connectors. So it kind of goes through some of that stuff on how to tune. Okay, troubleshooting splits. Okay, not really. What I would really like to see is for Splitter on the Facebook, and then they don't have a YouTube page. They need to have a YouTube page, and they need to have a video to go through and show people how to use this thing, because that's the biggest thing that's going to hurt them. I think they could get a lot more mileage on this thing if they end up making or having somebody make a great video of going from Joe Johnny Boxer Rocks like you and me, newbies that get onto this thing and say, okay, well, here's how, let's say you want to make a giant Hulk and a life-size Hulk, and you want to be able to print that on your Bamboo A1 Mini or your P2S or your K2 Plus or whatever, you know, your Prusa Core 1L. I like that one. I want to get that one. Show you how to set up your printer on that, how to import the model, how to do, you know, all of the planar cuts and the sizings, because you can add and delete, and that's, like I said, that's a little clunky. It's not intuitive. It's a hell of a lot better than Luban, but it is, it's not, it's almost there. They've got a little ways to go, and it will beat Luban. And then if they add more features later on down the road, yeah, at that price point, $625 versus $110. And then you could pay for the upgrades that, you know, big major upgrades that you want, you could do that. That's kind of a smart business plan, I think. I like that. I like that. I really appreciate that. So we'll see how that goes. Matter of fact, I need to get on my laptop and crank that up, because I think they do have a new update according to this thing. And that's what we got going on. Okay, so there you have it. Next video, what we're probably going to end up doing is probably tomorrow we'll do some more painting of the K2 Plus miniatures that we printed out. We'll do that, and by that time tomorrow we should also, because what day is tomorrow? Tomorrow's Wednesday. I have the gym tomorrow. Yesterday was shoulders and legs. Today is going to be, or tomorrow's going to be arm day. So I got to be out of here by 8:30. So that might be ready, I think. Yeah, it should be ready in the morning, the pen holder thing. So we can do a stream in the morning. We'll take a look at that. Hopefully keep the fingers crossed that everything still prints out. And it is still printing. We'll find out. Yes, it is still printing. So that's good. And so we can knock two birds out with one stone. So we could look at the pen holder, take that off, and take a look at that. And yes, it is still printing. Look at that. Beautifully. Beautifully. I love it. And then we could also paint a little bit more on those miniatures and really trying to knock those things out, going kind of quick, but to see if we could make that tabletop ready. And then you can be the judge on whether you would use it in a tabletop game, or you'd be ashamed and people would laugh at you and put kick me signs on your little miniatures. And I don't know. Bullying is wrong, but shame is in the mind, right? And if you don't mind, it doesn't matter. So we'll probably be doing that tomorrow. And what is the other stuff we got going on? There's some other, I've got the Warhammer axe that I need to do. I need to put that together. And that's, all the parts are sitting in a bag. So we got to do that. And I want to try to find some CA glue with activator. But the problem is living in Korea, it's hard to get activator. So I'm looking through, I can get CA glue with activator. Just getting it delivered here to Korea is problematic. And CA glue and activator, oh, maybe. Can't be shipped to Korea. Here's what I'm talking about. This is messed up. So you get the CA glue and activator, and then over here it says can't deliver to Korea. So that's what I'm running into. Those are the problems that I run into. It's like, there it is, and it's like, no, you're not. So yeah, that's kind of the maybe that one. Maybe? No, damn it. Oh, it doesn't out of stock. Seriously? Really? That's what we're gonna do? We're gonna play the out of stock game? And that one can't be shipped to Korea either. And then trying to find it on the Korean market. Let me go back up here. Let me try Stanley CA glue with activator set. See all buying options. And that can't be delivered. Oh, it's $106. Seriously. And trying to find it on the Korean market is a bear. So we have the Stanley stuff here, and it has 3.4 ounces, and then 13.5 ounces of activator for ceramic, tile, granite, whatever, metal, 3-pack, and then we have that there. So $25. That's a 3-pack. I'll just do a 2-pack. And all the buying options. Let's see what this pops up. Ooh, that might work. Oh, there's another one there. I think that's the one I was looking for. But will it deliver to Korea? No, it can't be shipped to Korea. Damn it. Damn it, Jim. But this one can go. And it's $87? Seriously? Oh, good Lord. That is insane. New, add to cart. Let's add to cart. That's a 2-pack. 2-pack. And if we take a look at that, so we get 2 of those, and then I have some filament, and then I have a cable, so that comes out to $179. Oh, good Lord, $87 for that. That is insane. I don't think I'm gonna be able. I gotta look at some Korean shopping online stuff to see if I can find that stuff, because that is just not. That is not good. We go to Coupang. Let's try that. And a lot of people in Korea don't like Coupang now because they had that data leak of 33.7 million users, addresses, and emails. And CA glue activator. Okay, so, oh, there's that there. That's 43,000 won. It's 52. Oh, okay, so this is better. Hey, and then there's that one. Okay, why wasn't this popping up before? That's actually some reasonable prices. CA glue 0.88 with 3.3 ounces activator spray. That's why it's so inexpensive. 2 ounces, 6 ounces. It's got like the really, really tiny stuff. 4.5 and 16, so 76,000 won. That might be the mega size. Mega size. That might be worth doing. Because 76,000 won. 76,400. We divide that by about 14.50 is what the exchange rate is. So you're looking at $52 for that. Good Lord. You see what I'm putting up with? You see what I got to deal with living overseas here in Korea? Well, that's a con. It does end up that I really do like living in Korea. Me and the wife were retired, and so that's why I got all this time to do 3D printing and resin and gym and all that stuff. Yeah, it's just kind of cool. So with that, that is the latest update that we have going on with the update of the printing pen holder and then the venting stuff that I'm making on Tinkercad. So we're doing that and trying to rearrange that room to try to make it look cool, look efficient, clean, look nice. So I think I'll get another island so that way I'll have it up against that window wall, have one on one side, one on the other, and then I'll have an open space. And we'll just get a board and set that in there, secure it somehow. So I've got a bigger workspace, and I could put the laptop there. That would be good. And then down below, throw in a trash can or, you know, a big filament, whatever. It should be good. Terry says, have a good day. All right, you too, sir. Thanks for stopping by, and thank you for all the emails. I really appreciate that. So have a good one. I'm actually going to sign off here as well. So now that we found some CA glue and activator for a decent price, it's still expensive, but I'll go ahead and jump on that in order. And if anybody else is interested, what you can end up doing is contacting me. Here is my email address, officialthevariedlife@gmail.com. I always answer my email. The best thing that you could do for me is to like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that, and it would appease the YouTube gods. A bunch of people over here bought me coffee. There's a link in the description box. But honestly, the best thing you could do is to like and subscribe to the channel. That's what I'm really pushing for. So, yeah, another hobby that I have. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's a little thumb. Brr, brr. So we got, you're awesome, whoever you are. So with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off, and we'll hopefully see you all tomorrow, and we'll see you on the next video. All right, thank you. Peace. Peace out. We are